Good morning, Rebecca Vigus, the writer whisperer, here from a sunny south central Kentucky. Still a bit chilly at 46 this morning, but it's supposed to get up to 73, so there is hope for the day. How many of you have been told countless times to stop daydreaming? I know, I'm one of them. My mother, teachers, um, you need to pay attention. Stop daydreaming. Daydreaming is what writers do when they are bored. When I was fourth grade, after lunch every day, the teacher read to us maybe 15, 20 minutes, not real long. And during that time, while she was reading, in my mind, I saw what was happening. I remember vividly the young girl in Calico Captive who was being pulled through a wooded area, and her dress was snagging on different branches that had fallen down, and they walked until their feet hurt. I remember these things. I remember it happened during the French Indian War. Imagine that. I remember she ended up in Canada from the United States. I don't remember if she made it back home. If she did, that wasn't an exciting part. That was just the end of the story. I remember sitting in classrooms, looking out the window, but not seeing what was out there, seeing something else out there. I used to doodle in my notes in the rooms where there were no windows. Those were the classrooms I hated the most. Big 250-person lecture halls. Oh, Lord. What do? You memorize the periodic table because it's in front of you 3 days a week for 16 weeks. And oh, wait, when you get into the next lecture hall, same periodic table. I did not like lecture halls. I didn't think the professor knew who anyone was. We were just names and student numbers. And the only thing he judged us on were test scores. I remember my dad showed up early to pick me up for a weekend. And I said, "Oh, Dad, I got one more class. You can come with me." He says, "No, I can't." I said, "Yeah, it's a 250 student lecture hall, and the professor will never know you're there." So we sat about midway up. Professor came in, put an overhead on the projector, that had the outline for the day's lecture. I wrote down the outline and I left spaces between it. Other students wrote the outline and walked out of class, and my dad said, "What in the heck is going on?" I said, "This happens every day." I said, "What these people have not figured out is that partway through the lecture, he's going to say, 'Write this down. It's going to be on the test.'" They have the outline. That's all they have. And I flipped through my notebook and I said, "I have the notes." And he looked at me and said, "What are you getting in this class?" "Unfortunately, Dad, I'm getting a B." Dad says, "Yeah, that's good. I'll take that." And he sat through the hour lecture and we left, and he said, "That is the most boring class." I said, "Tell me about it." He never asks any questions that he doesn't answer. He said, Dad said to me, "What do you do?" I said, "I doodle in the margins and I memorize the periodic table." Really? And when my daughter had chemistry, guess what? Her mom helped her with the periodic table. Never had chemistry, never wanted to take chemistry, but I had memorized it after years of sitting in giant lecture halls where the periodic table was plastered at the front of the room. I used to test myself on it. I probably did better on my tests on the periodic table than I did in the history class. But I daydreamed. My doodles were daydreams. I never missed what the professor said. I could write his whole lecture almost verbatim. I was a daydreamer. There are times when I still daydream. It's part of being a writer. It's part of who you are. Writers, artists, musicians, they're all daydreamers. Some daydream themselves into superstardom. Musicians, artists, sculptors, painters, writers. It's who you are. If you are not daydreaming, find yourself a place to daydream where you just sit and absorb all that's around you and let your mind go where it will. One of my favorite places to go is Kiowa Island, South Carolina. I spent 2 winters down there before I moved to South Carolina. And it took me 2 years from the last winter I spent down there to get moved to South Carolina. I went back there last February for about 7 days. Let me tell you something. It was awesome. I almost died walking up 24 steps every time I wanted to get in or out of my condo. I won't make that mistake again. I will get a ground floor condo. But the beach, I stand on the beach and look out into the Atlantic Ocean and watch the ocean meet the sky in the horizon. And I realize just how small my part of the universe is. It's amazing. It is amazing to think of that vast ocean where it looks like it meets the sky on the horizon. You know they never touch, but it looks like they do. It puts a lot into perspective for you. I have always liked to write where there is a babbling brook, a little creek, a part of a river. It's a soothing sound. First year I went to Kiowa Island, I didn't turn on the television for a week. I was down there 2.5 months. The first week I didn't. I wrote 3 short stories. I could hear the ocean every day, 24 hours a day, as it pounded the shore. I walked the beach for miles. I walked around the island via sidewalks for miles. I would walk to the front desk, pick up my mail, hit the path to the beach, and walk back via the beach. Sometimes I went the opposite way. I went the beach to the front desk and walked back the sidewalks. Never walked the same way twice. And I just let my mind wander as I walked. And then I would go back and I would just gush words. I daydream. If you're not daydreaming, you should be. That is an essential part of being a writer. Today's prompt comes from The Right Brain, Bonnie Neubauer. And no, I'm not taking these page by page. This is day 97. If you're using this book on a day-to-day basis, which you can do. I've been known to jump all over in this book. This one is titled Daydreamer, and it says, finish the story. Start with, while the teacher lectured, I stared out the window. What did you see when you stared out the window? With Bonnie, there is always a take the next step. Always. And I was running a little late, so I didn't put that in the prompt. I will put it here in the comments. Take the next step. Describe a window you remember using to daydream. We all have that one window somewhere. It was our window that we just wanted to look out all day long. Not the view out the window, the actual window. What did the window look like? Describe it. Now, imagine you, mouse ran away, you are there. What's that word? In daydream, and stare out that mind window for a few minutes. What did you daydream? Remember that window that you stared out as a child, as a teen? What did the window look like? Describe the window. And then stare out that window. Boy, I can't type this morning. All the places you can find me did not get typed below. They are in the comments. If you have a question you don't want to ask online, email it to me. I'll answer it. If you want to hear your name online, ask me the question. I'll give you written an answer, but I will also answer it live online. I don't have any problem with that. Everybody needs a little recognition. And if you have the question, so does someone else. So does someone else. I had a ninth grade high school teacher on my first test of the year. He taught science, biology. Ask, who is the author of your book? Seriously? Who cares? And that's what I wrote for an answer. Who cares? I got the test back and I had an A minus. I had missed one question. Who was the author of my book? You can bet I knew after that. Fast forward, about 8, 10 years, at least 10 years. And I'm in a class, grad class, and the professor keeps referring to the author of the book. And he just refers to the author, so and so says. I'm sitting in a class of 50 people, and this lady hesitantly raises her hand. And she said, "Who is so and so?" At which point I said, "Oh my God, she did not ask that question." The answer was the author of your book. If you are taking classes now, know who wrote your textbooks. Do not get jacked up by that question. That's almost as important as taking time to daydream. Who wrote your book? Why do I tell you who's giving you the writing prompts? Why did I hold up the book and tell you it was Bonnie Neubauer? Because the writing prompts aren't my ideas. If the writing prompt is my idea, there won't be a name by it. Or I won't tell you that it's Bonnie Neubauer, Judy Miller, or any other person, Julia Cameron, or any other person I happen to pull from their book. I will not take credit for something that's not mine. If it's my writing prompt, yep, I'll tell you. If it came from oneword.com, I'll tell you that too. Are you getting your one words every day and using them as writing prompts? I have books written by those one word writing prompts. Yep, I do. So happy daydreaming today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye now.